April 7, 1994. FedEx Flight 705, a massive DC-10 cargo jet, sits on the tarmac in Memphis, ready for a routine flight to San Jose. On board are Captain David Sanders, First Officer Jim Tucker, and Flight Engineer Andrew Peterson. But they're not alone. Joining them is another FedEx employee, Auburn Calloway, catching a ride as a deadhead passenger. He's carrying a guitar case, but he's no musician. Inside are hammers, and Auburn Calloway, a former Navy pilot, is facing termination from FedEx for lying about his flight hours. His plan is monstrous: hijack the plane, murder the crew, and crash it. He's hoping the crash will look like an accident, allowing his family to collect on his $2.5 million life insurance policy. Just before takeoff, Calloway tries to disable the cockpit voice recorder, aiming to erase any trace of his crime. But Flight Engineer Peterson notices the tripped circuit breaker and resets it, unknowingly preserving a chilling record of the horror to come. 26 minutes after takeoff, as the plane climbs through 19,000 feet, Calloway makes his move. He enters the cockpit and unleashes a storm of violence, brutally attacking all 3 crew members with a hammer. He strikes with savage force, aiming to incapacitate them instantly. Peterson's skull is fractured, severing a major artery. Tucker is hit so hard that bone fragments are driven into his brain, paralyzing the right side of his body. Captain Sanders is also grievously wounded. The cockpit becomes a scene of unimaginable chaos and bloodshed, but the crew refuses to die. This is where the story turns from a horrifying crime into one of the greatest tales of survival in aviation history. Despite his life-threatening injuries and partial paralysis, First Officer Jim Tucker grabs the controls. What he does next is nothing short of legendary. He starts flying the massive DC-10 like a fighter jet, throwing it into extreme aerobatic maneuvers that the plane was never designed for. He puts the jet into a steep dive, then a sharp climb, and even rolls it onto its side, almost completely upside down. He's using the G-forces of the aircraft itself as a weapon, trying to throw Calloway off balance and pin him against the ceiling, giving his crewmates a chance to fight back. While Tucker is wrestling with the controls of the violently bucking plane, the desperate struggle continues in the back. Sanders and Peterson, despite massive blood loss and skull fractures, crawl and grapple with Calloway, fighting to disarm him. At one point, the negative GI forces are so strong that all of them are literally floating, pinned against the galley ceiling. Blood is everywhere. It's a primal battle for survival, thousands of feet in the air. Through sheer willpower, they manage to wrestle the hammer away from their attacker. Meanwhile, Tucker, fighting to stay conscious, somehow levels the plane and gets on the radio, declaring an emergency. His voice is weak, but his message is clear. "We have a problem here. I've been wounded. We've had a fight on board." He requests an immediate return to Memphis and asks for an armed escort to meet them on the ground. With Tucker's right side now useless, Captain Sanders, bleeding profusely, takes back control of the aircraft. Peterson, though severely injured himself, focuses all his remaining strength on restraining the still combative Calloway. They are now facing another impossible task, landing a plane that is dangerously overweight with fuel, flying far too fast, and with a hostile attacker just feet away. There's no time to dump fuel. They have to land, and they have to do it now. Displaying almost superhuman skill and composure, Captain Sanders guides the damaged, overweight DC-210 back towards the Memphis runway. He lands the plane at a speed and weight far beyond its certified limits, a feat that would be a challenge for an uninjured pilot in a perfectly functioning aircraft. The landing is hard, but it's safe. The plane is on the ground. When paramedics and police storm the aircraft, they are met with a scene of utter carnage. The cockpit and galley are covered in blood. The crew members are alive, but barely. Calloway is arrested on the spot. He was later sentenced to life in prison for attempted murder and air piracy. The crew of FedEx 705 all survived, though none of them ever flew commercially again. Their physical and psychological scars were profound, but their legacy is one of pure heroism. They didn't just save their own lives. They prevented a catastrophic crash over a populated area. Their incredible teamwork, courage, and sheer will to live turned a would-be tragedy into one of aviation's greatest miracles. Thank you so much for watching this incredible story of survival. If you found this as inspiring as I did, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more stories of real-life heroism. See you next time.